Hey everybody, Sandman here. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I pretty much just, play games and talk about tech from time to time. Yeah, so the main reason I'm making this video today is because some people were asking how maybe for more of a step-by-step breakdown of how I actually built the PC, because I know the previous video I was just mostly talking about it from I wasn't really breaking down the steps, I was just talking about it like generally, just talking about how the experience was for me. But I want to get a bit more in depth with this one and just talk about specific aspects that someone should consider if they want to build a PC, as well as that's pretty much specific aspects of what someone should consider if they want to build a PC. I hope everyone's going to find this video informative, and hopefully it's going to be the final video I make on this. Sorry. First off, before I go any further, I would just like to start off by giving a big thanks to my good friend Bamba Avenue for plugging me with the mic I'm using in this video. Yeah, no more bad sound, guys. But yeah, big thank you, bro. I'm also gonna tag his channel just in case anyone like check him out. He posts some really fun content too, gaming related. So yeah, welcome you again. If you are not subscribed, please do subscribe, and tell me if you have any ideas or anything else you would like me to cover or me to answer. I'm all ears, I'm ready. I think the most important thing you need to realize, or if you're planning on building a PC, the most important step, which is in the preliminary, like the first step you should make, is come up with a budget. And how you come up with a budget is realizing what you're trying to achieve in the first place. So let's say you want to build a PC. A couple questions you need to ask yourself: what type of PC do you want to build? What's the main use for the PC, said PC? So in my case, I wanted a PC that would play most of the current gen titles. So that's like PS5, Xbox 360. I wanted the PC is going to be able to handle those games at a very playable rate, and that's what my focus was mainly. Something I could start with and then build off of, and move further into the future. Once you have what you're looking for in mind, the next step obviously is research. For me, I found a whole bunch of helpful guys on the internet. One of them was Oz Talks Hardware. This guy who makes his budget builds, and then I guess that's where I kind of had an idea of the price to performance type thing I was going for. Like, he would make his random builds with random parts, and then different GPUs, and then you'd see how they perform, because you always just put a benchmark test at the end, so you see how each card and CPU combo performs, and then you have a rough idea of what you're trying to go for. So after doing a bunch of research, and also some guys on Reddit, what's that, PC Part Picker, I can't remember the Reddit, I'll stitch it on the video, but those guys would, you just randomly ask them, hey guys, I need a $500 PC build, and then they would use PC Part Picker to make something that would fit that budget. And a whole bunch of a pinned post on the same channel with like a $250 build, $500 build, $750 build, a $1,000 build. Once you got that down, the budget you're going for, and you do your research on the parts you're going for. I think for me, after watching a bunch of benchmark videos and also just performance videos, I realized the RX 6600 was I was planning either getting the RX 5700 XT or the RX 6600 XT, because the performance was a bit similar, and I think it's equivalent to a RTX 3060. If I'm not mistaken. It seemed pretty cheap, but as well it was doing a decent amount of performance. I think I can't remember which YouTuber he mentioned it, but he mentioned like a good pair for an RX 6600 or 5700 XT was either AMD Ryzen 5 5500 or 5600, in terms of just like they wouldn't bottleneck each other, so the CPU would fully utilize the GPU and vice versa. That's what you want to go for. You don't want to have a PC that's like you get a very powerful GPU, but your CPU is holding you back, or your GPU is not receiving the amount of performance you're looking for, because the CPU doesn't have enough power to like keep going or match the energy of the card. And yeah, so when you figure out which CPU and GPU you're going for, one thing you need to know is each CPU works on a specific motherboard. All right, so the Ryzen 5 5500 was on the AM4 socket, if I'm not mistaken. Motherboard, you can just pick a random motherboard and have your CPU fit in it. So yeah, when you pick your thing, make sure you actually do your research on the type of motherboard that works with type of CPU and also the type of RAM sticks that are going to work on it. So for me, the Ryzen 5500 works on the AM4 chipset, and the AM4 works with DDR4 RAM. You know, some of them have Wi-Fi, some don't. Mine in particular, I didn't have a Wi-Fi card. Yeah, that's one of the main things you need to know. And also, when I did my research on PC part pick, it actually tells you how much, an estimate of how much power that your system will use. So I think when I did my math, I used it, I think it gave me either 450 watts or 500 watts. Yeah, but I decided to get something slightly bigger so that my PC system can have some more headroom. So I went for 650 watt power supply. So that's pretty much the planning phase of, I know it sounds a bit like messy, but yeah, it's not that complicated. Just watch a bunch of videos. There's even this, I don't remember his name, but he made a full one hour PC build video, and I watched it, and I think that's why the more you watch a whole bunch of guys just building random PCs, you're gonna get ideas of what works with what doesn't work with what. So after I planned everything, the parts I needed to do, I did research on how much it would cost, and I realized that they were just falling right under that. I think it was $550. That's how much my entire system components cost. So once you have that down, now try and find the best deals that suit that. So initially I went on eBay for the CPU motherboard combo. I think it's easier to just order everything in a unit and like one by one, mainly because of shipping costs. Because I mean, if you order a CPU, you're gonna pay for the CPU separately, or the motherboard, you're gonna pay for the motherboard separately, just like that. So luckily for me, the CPU came with the motherboard and some RAM sticks. I found a really good combo actually for almost, I think it was $130 back when the dollar was at 16 kwacha. So yeah, it came with it was a ASRock A520, so it means it's on the AM4 socket with already it also came with the Ryzen 5 5500 CPU and 16 GB of DDR4 memory. So already that made the whole process easy, because it already installed when it came like he already, like according to his description, he bought it for testing purposes, and when it was done he sold it. So he was selling it, so I bought it off of him. So already that's installing the CPU out of the way. Already it came with stock cooler, there's the fan above the CPU, and also the RAM sticks already installed. So I just inspected the case when I bought the motherboard when I bought it, just to make sure everything was looking alright. Second thing I bought was the PSU. I did my research, so there's luckily they actually rate this thing. So I think mine was a gold rated PSU. So in short, bronze is, okay, forgive me if I butcher something, I don't remember, but there's bronze, silver, I think there's white, bronze, silver and gold, and that's just the efficiency. So like that's how efficiently it supplies power to your system. So the lower it is on the tier, the less efficient it is. And in my thinking, I was like, might as well get a gold rated one, just trying to avoid any inconveniences, you know. I wouldn't want to get a very cheap PSU and then it ends up being the death of my system. So yeah, I got the 650 watt PSU from Woodware, actually, Woodware SA, and I used Tigmo to have it shipped to Zambia. It took like less than a week, maybe 6 days. It weighed like 2 kg, and the total cost came to something like 400, under 400 watts. I think it was 399 or something like that. Yeah, so that's how I got the PSU. And then the case, as I said in the previous video, my friend helped me order the case from China, so it took a while to come here because we had it shipped by by sea. It took like almost 2 months. Yeah, but with the case, almost everything is pretty standard. Just make sure if you're going for a micro ATX motherboard, you get a case like maybe an ATX is the standard size case, and there's a micro ATX which is like a slightly smaller sized case. Yeah, so just make sure that you're not getting an ATX motherboard and trying to put it in a micro ATX case, because it's not gonna fit. And then the space for the PSU is standard. It's pretty standard, whether it's an ATX, micro ATX, the size of a PSU, or from according to what I know anyway, it's pretty standard. So you also have to make sure that if you're gonna get a GPU, make sure you know the exact length of your GPU and ensure that the case is gonna have enough space to accommodate that. But yeah, next in case, the GPU is last thing actually. Yeah, the GPU is last thing I got. I bought it off of someone from the Nerd Otaku team. He was just selling it, and I thought it would be a good idea for me to buy it. A friend, actually, I really didn't have enough money around that time, and I consulted a friend of mine who encouraged me to just go for it. So yeah, and that's how those are like the main components that went into the PC. With the actual build, just make sure you have a pack of screws, maybe some zip ties, just to keep your cable management a bit neat. So if you don't want cables everywhere, and make sure you have like a good enough work surface to actually have the build done. As I said in my previous video, I didn't build it alone. I initially wanted to, but I thought it would just be more efficient and less time consuming to build it with actual people who have built it before. So yeah, I did at the I think it was the November LAN party, and I had Zeus help me out. Yeah, so that's it. My motherboard already had the CPU and the stock cooler with the RAM sticks inserted already, so that already saved a whole bunch of the early preliminary work, like putting the CPU in and stuff like that. Mainly just had to put the standoffs at the base of the CPU. The case actually comes with screws, so that to stand off things like you're not supposed to put your motherboard at the base of your case, sure, because it's metal. The motherboard also has circuit components. You don't want a short circuit like that. So the standoffs are there to just create a distance between the case and the motherboard. Install the standard small screws, then screw the motherboard onto the small screws. Alright, first step done. Second step, try and route the cables first. I think that's the main cables that you can connect for the CPU, the case interface, like the buttons, the power button, audio. It's a bit confusing, because sometimes I guess depending on your motherboard, there might be a different labeling for I don't know. But just make sure if you're following a guide on YouTube, yeah, you don't mess that part up. So there's the plus, the minus, mic, audio, all that stuff. Yeah. With the power supply cables though, for me they were actually written on they were like tags on them. So CPU, the 4-pin CPU power. So the motherboard one, 20. I think it was a 24 pin. So the 4 was for the CPU, then the 20 was for the motherboard, if I'm not mistaken. And you just plug those in. Plug it to the power supply. Also for the fans, power up the fans. Also a cable goes to and also the installation of the GPU. There's like a lever at the base of your motherboard. You just have to pull it out, insert it, and you lock it in. So if you want to remove your CPU again, put it to the side so that you can pull it. I almost actually broke my GPU like that, trying to pull it out without actually unfastening the thing. But yeah, the cable connecting was actually really trivial, because I mean you keep thinking like you've messed up something. That's pretty much the main procedure. It took us maybe close to 30-40 minutes to have everything assembled. We had to now power up the system. There was no OS, obviously. Well, not obviously, but if it's a first install, there's no OS, it takes you to the BIOS. But this one actually had Windows, but it was I guess formatted or removed, so it kept crashing, so I had to reinstall the OS. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Seems a bit complicated, but trust me, it's not as hard as it sounds. I hope that at least helped shed more light on how I got about with the parts, and also the build process as well. I gotta get back to playing some of the finals, so later guys.
What's happening?